We start with something normal like e4, e5, and now we bring our queen out to h5, absolutely terrifying your friend here, because why would you bring your queen out that early? It seems wild and crazy, but this move is actually played at the top level by even Hikaru Nakamura. So they might develop normally with, say, something like knight c6. Now we bring our bishop out, and now we have two attackers on that vulnerable f7 square. So if they don't defend it and they play something mindless like knight f6, then we can come in with checkmate with the queen. If they don't play knight f6, let's say they defend this threat with something like g6, we can simply drop our queen all the way back to its starting square and we're still doing fine. Let's look at another key variation where they're not getting mated, but we can find a key tactic against them. So let's say instead of knight c6, they come in with something like just c6. We play our same move as before, bishop c4, we're making the same threat. Now they might try to defend it with g6 again, but here we have a beautiful tactic. Queen takes e5, and we're hitting both the king and the rook, so the king has to deal with this check. They can block with, say, the queen, and boom, we can take the rook for free. Our next trick is the fried liver attack. This is a part of an opening that has been around since the 1600s, so it's very well established and there's a good chance you'll see it in your games. Let's start with the basics: e4, e5, knight f3, and their opponent might play the two knights defense, which starts with knight c6. Now we bring our bishop out, and they'll bring their second knight, true to the name of the opening, two knights defense, to knight f6. And now we have the very clever knight g5. So, a very similar theme to the last puzzle, we have two pieces attacking the f7 square, and only one defender, the king. Black is starting to get a little nervous about this, and they might try to kick our knight out with h6. But here we can play knight takes f7, and we are attacking both the rook and the queen at the same time. And guess what? The king can't take this knight because it's protected by the bishop. So if they try to save their queen, we are going to win a rook for free. So let's back up, and let's say they don't play h6, but they play the best move in the position, d5. The idea here is now you're cutting off this white bishop from f7, so that tactic can no longer work. But what we can do is take this pawn, they take it back, and now we play knight takes f7 anyway. So the king can take it now, technically, because the bishop is not defending it, but after this, the queen comes out with a check on f3, and here we have two pieces attacking the knight on d5 and only one defender. So now the king, yes, the king itself, has to come in to try to save this knight. King e6, and yes, look at this position. We may be down a piece, but their king is in the middle of the board. So, unless your opponent knows exactly what they are doing, you are definitely going to win this game. Our next trick is one you can use with the black pieces. This one is known as the fishing pole. So, it can arise out of a very common variation of the Ruy-Lopez opening, one that you might have studied already. We start pretty normal, e4, e5, they bring their knight out, we bring ours out, and then bishop b5, part of the Ruy-Lopez. We kick it out, they take back, now they castle, and here we bring our bishop to g4, and a key aspect now is we are pinning the knight to the queen. That's important. So now this knight can't just simply move, otherwise they would give up the queen for free. They will try to kick us out with h3, but here's where the fishing pole trap comes in. We don't care, we simply play h5 anyway. We say take our bishop, because we've got a plan. Let's say they call our bluff, they say, okay, I'll take your bishop, let's see what happens. H takes, we take back, and now, yes, we are down a piece, but white has some issues to deal with. For one, their knight is under attack. Your friend might think, okay, well, I need to save this knight. Let me save it in a way where I can gain some material. Let's just simply play knight takes e5. We win a pawn, hooray! Now, we can bring our queen to h4, and look at this. We have the rook and the queen barreling down that h-file. How do you stop that checkmate? Well, they might try to give themselves an escape square with f4, but we calmly play g3, protecting that f2 square, and nothing can prevent checkmate on the next turn. This next trick is another one you can use with the black pieces, known as the fork trick in the opening. This will come out of the Italian game, another common opening that you'll probably see again and again. e4, e5, and now both players are looking to bring all of their knights out. As you can see in the next few moves, all the knights are on the board. They'll bring their bishop out as well. And here we have a tricky move that feels unintuitive and it shouldn't be possible, but it is. Knight takes e4. Now, a lot of you are thinking, wait, aren't we just giving up a piece for free? Can't the knight just take that back? Yes, but then our next move is where the fork comes in, d5. Now this pawn, which mind you is protected by the queen on d8, is attacking both the knight and the bishop. Two threats, your opponent can only deal with one of them, so they might retreat their bishop, but we can take the knight on the next turn with the pawn. Now they can take back, and we are doing absolutely fine, but the key is your opponent has had to do all this thinking and hard work. Meanwhile, we just got to blitz out our moves, we're probably up on the clock, and our position is doing just fine. Our last trick is one you can use if you're completely losing, but you still have a way to salvage a stalemate. This is known as the Rosen Trap, named after international master Eric Rosen. So let's paint the scene here. Here we have the black pieces, and we are so perilously close to being able to promote our pawn, but the white queen pins it to the king, so promoting is not an option. What white will want to do potentially is deal with this pawn because they are only a few squares away from promoting. They just want to deal with this because it could potentially be a thorn in their side. So white will capture on f2, and here we play a move so unintuitive that your opponent might not see it coming. Instead of taking this free queen, we go king h1. And now you'll notice the king has no legal moves because the queen is covering all those squares. But if your opponent is very quick and maybe they're playing a faster time control, they might be tempted to just pre-move a7, get another queen on the board, right? Two queens better than one. But if they do this, boom, stalemate. Your opponent spent all that time getting a better position, finally got the jump on you, was absolutely winning, but now they have to settle for a draw. How infuriating is that? I hope you've enjoyed these tricks to use against your friends. What other tricks do you have up your sleeve? Let us know in the comments.